Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 111. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Kevin Aradal and Sean Beatty. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at NastyBilly22, and Kevin is C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on X or Twitter, whatever you prefer. Subscribe to us. Tell us what you think in the comments below. We've been off for a while. A lot has happened. So we're only going to keep it to two subjects. Congrats to Jordan Eberle on his 1,000th game tonight. We're not going to talk about that really, though. We're going to drive straight into the Seahawks. We have been off for a while. Last time we were here, Kevin was crying about Pete leaving. I know he was really, really sad, but we now have a new head coach. His name is Mike MacDonald. He was the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator this past year, was hired by the Seahawks this offseason, and then they filled out the rest of the Seahawks coaching staff. The notable ones are defensive coordinator is Aiden Durde, and he was formerly with the Dallas Cowboys. I forgot his role. And then Ryan Grubb was the UW offensive coordinator this past year, and then was hired away from Alabama after Kalen DeBoer tried to take him with him to Alabama. So, Kevin, you were the saddest about Pete Carroll. When we saw you on this show, there were tears down your face.
Yep.
What do you think of the successor to Pete Carroll?
I mean, he wasn't my first choice, but he was probably like 1B.
Who was your first choice?
Lions offensive coordinator. But that boy wanted too much apparently, which I think he's still worth it. But Ben, whatever his name was,
Ben Johnson.
Yeah. So they should have just paid the money for Ben Johnson. But
it sounded like he really wanted to stay in Detroit,
really
actually.
Detroit, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think he wants to finish Detroit. Like, he wants to, like, one more run at it. And he might be looking for the job he wants, not the jobs that were available, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's possible.
Sounds like he had his pick, and he was like, I don't want to.
I mean, Alabama was open. I don't know what he's doing, but
people go one way, Matthew. They're gonna go the other way. College is JV. NFL's hype. NFL's the big boys.
But yeah, no, like he's 1B. Like I said, if we couldn't get Ben Johnson, he's probably my second, pick after that. Built a pretty good defense, good, yeah, as far as we know, possibly good draft choices. I don't know how much of that is John Harbaugh versus him, but I'm sure he had some influence involved in the decision of defensive picking and stuff like that. Just hopefully brings a good good resurgence and a different defensive scheme to where even players like the guy that we got from the Broncos in that trade, that D lineman, I can't remember, who was essentially saying that Pete's schemes were like he struggled last year because Pete's schemes were just awful and just limited. So we'll see him if he can open up the playbook and get some things going. As far as like the coordinators and stuff like that, it's kind of yet to be determined. I'm sure a lot of Seahawks fans are probably super stoked about UW's offensive coordinator coming over. But as Sean just mentioned, that's JV versus pro. So I mean, not to say that college coordinators haven't had success in the NFL. They have. It's
successful NFL coaches don't go to college. Successful college coaches go to the NFL.
Right. But then sometimes when they go to the NFL and they're not as successful. So I'm not going to like jump on board and be like, we're going to, dominate. Like it's still yet to be proven and seen. So yeah. All in all, I'm pretty happy with what we got. So
Sean, what do you think?
I would have liked an offensive guy first, but young offensive guy first, but we got a young defensive guy, so second choice, but I don't hate it. I don't think it's a step in the wrong direction, but I'm just wondering how much of in the right direction is it? So Ryan Grubb, I assume that's how you pronounce it, the UW guy, is now the offensive coordinator. So let's just say he kills it and offense is awesome. What happens when he leaves? You just got to try to find another guy. And that's something you avoid when you make an offensive guy your head coach, because offense is largely repeatable, and that's what people want because it is repeatable. So that's just my only downside is if like Ryan is really good at his job and gets the most out of this offense, we've got 1, maybe 2 years of this until we have to do it again. So it does make me a little nervous, but I don't mind what Mike MacDonald does and is as a coach. I enjoy. So I'm pretty content with it. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire. Um, I think most of us were on the hire an offensive coach train. I think all of us are on that hire an offensive
We're
coach
all on
train.
the okay. Let's be very specific. We're all on the hire a young offensive coach train. Like,
True.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair. That's fair. Didn't work out with Kellen Moore. He's in Philly now, so that was my pick. Ben Johnson decided to stay in Detroit. So we'll see how it goes. A lot of his players spoke highly of him, so that's good. But he's been here a month, so not a whole lot to take away other than on the surface, I think it looks like a good hire. Ryan Grubb, his offense at UW. I mean, they were one of the best offenses in the country, able to get to the national championship game. So I'm curious to see how much of that offense stays and how much of that changes with the NFL game. And to me, it does feel like with the hiring of Grubb that they'll draft Penix. I think that just kind of makes sense. Now, where they draft him, I don't know. It's seems like he impressed the combine. I don't really know. I didn't really pay attention much to the combine, but um,
Yes and no.
It's just, it doesn't sound like Penix is going to be a first rounder, so he could be around when the Seahawks have their next pick in the third round, but there's a chance he goes in the second. So, that first round 16th pick overall is going to be um, very interesting because they don't have a pick in the second round at this point. So that's their highest pick. And do they go quarterback? Do they take Penix that high? It could happen. It could happen. I don't think I would go that route myself, but I could see them going that route. But they have had some moves made already just this past week. They have cut Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Will Disley, Kevin's favorite Nick Bellore, and Brian Monet. So Tyler Lockett also restructured his contract. And then the news this week, as free agency has begun, they re-signed Leonard Williams and Noah Fant. So, Sean, what did you think of these moves?
So okay, I guess we'll go first with the cuts. Adams, Diggs, Disley, Belor, Monet. Agree with all of them. It does leave you in an interesting place though. You have no proven safety. I guess people will say like Love's is proven, but like I don't really see it. I'm okay with playing Love at safety. That's fine. But like when you cut Disley, I guess I'll say this: at the time they cut Disley, they had no tight ends, they had no safeties, no linebackers. Like literally, they didn't have any. Safeties, I guess technically they had guys who have an S next to their name, but like you've never seen them play, other than Love. So I was a little nervous. I was like, I agree with all the cuts, but I was just like, man, like we have a breadth of like a lack of players that is just general positions now. So in order to free up this money, so everyone's looking at it like, oh, we have all this money, we could do so many things. I go, you can't do so many things. You have so many positions you have to fill. You can't just go out and get like 5 like crazy expensive guys because you have tons of positions you need to fill, and you need to save for your draft too, which I guess is a good thing. They don't have many draft picks or many high draft picks. But I agree with the cuts. Lockett restructures. I haven't seen specific on Lockett's thing. Did he yeah, so it's gonna be 26, it's gonna be 27 million cap hit next year. I don't know if he's gonna be on the team next year. I think that's what they're really bracing for. Which I'll be sad, but if Tyler's okay with it, Tyler's okay with it. Because again, a lot of these restructures simply don't mean that like everyone's like, oh man, Tyler's doing this or we're getting thing. It just means they're just moving the money around. And then just, when they move the money around, it just means like they move the dead money and the cap number and all that stuff. So they're just making it easier to like cut him next year, basically. Um, he gets a little bit more guaranteed, and they are able to cut him. Uh, I'll be very sad when if they do that. But I agree with the restructure just to free up more money. They had to sign Williams. I feel like because now that trade isn't horrible. Because if you traded a second round pick in a year you weren't competitive for what you thought was competitive, and then don't sign him, that's just embarrassing. Good player. I wouldn't say like maybe great player. I did see that article actually today. Someone was like, and then people got mad. They're like, he's, great, good. I go, he's good. Is he super crazy elite? I don't know, but he is a good player, and I'm glad he's on our team. And we paid him. I think they said it's 21, but you know how these contracts actually go. It's not 21. It's like if everything maxed out, he'd get 21 a year, but they never do. So did either of you guys see? Wasn't like 18 actually per year or something like that?
17 or 18, yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was like something like that. So that's fine. Don't mind that at all. Worth it. Fant is it's interesting, but I get it. I don't think he's earned the contract, but I think there's other factors that prevented him from maybe potentially earning it. And I think maybe physically he has the capability of doing it. Now they just need to actually use Fant, do things with Fant to make him earn it. And they did just sign somebody like within an hour. Did you guys see that?
No, I've been at work.
It was
Farrell Brown.
Farrell Brown, yes, the other tight end. 1 year deal, like if you haven't matched Matthews, like $2.3 million for 1 year.
I didn't see a figure. I just saw someone
they
say they signed him.
They did. It was around, but I think it was like 2 point. It's less. It's like 3 million or less. So that's totally fine. Like you now have two tight ends on the roster that are like NFL caliber players. You're not spending a ton on them. It's totally fine. The idea of paying Will Disley $8 million was just like blowing my mind. But yeah, as of the cuts, the Lockett and the Williams and the signings, they're pretty good. I don't want to like freak out and say like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, all these guys are gone. I will say one thing. There is like, and I'll pass it off to Kevin then. There is a chart that goes around that I was talking about today on Twitter where everyone was like, look at the teams who spend the most in free agency. There's a direct correlation between winning less games if you spend a lot in free agency versus like teams who win a bunch don't spend in free agency. And I wanted to stress that like that's a classic case of correlation and causation. They don't necessarily always equal each other. The famous example, I'll break this down. What I mean by that is like in school, there's two famous examples. One, divorce rates and the amount of cheese that couples eat correlated, but they're obviously not related. They're not causing each other. Same with global temperatures and pirates. As the global temperature has risen, there's less pirates. So can we say because the Earth is warmer, that's causing less pirates? No, because these things are happening at the same time doesn't mean one is causing the other. And so when everyone's like, oh my gosh, like if you spend more free agency, that's actually a bad way to build a team. One, it is a bad way to build a team, but it's not, their teams aren't bad because they're spending in free agency. They're spending in free agency because they have to, because they've done other bad things. So if you saw on this graph, actually, I could probably find it if I share here. If I could share my screen.
I'm actually far more interested in the cheese and divorce thing, but
did you know that? That was like, it's like,
no, I've never heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to show that it's incredibly stupid. So can I share my screen? Let's see.
Yes.
Share screen.
Here. If you haven't seen Tenacious D's rendition of Baby One More Time, we allowed that earlier, so go check that out on there.
So my buddy Zeke shared this on here on Twitter. I think he got it from somewhere, but free agent spending and wins. Obviously, someone would look at this, and maybe Zeke and some other people are like, oh well, like good teams don't spend in free agency. And I said, well, it's because if you look at the bottom right, it's because there are Hall of Fame quarterbacks down there or potential Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Not because of free agency. It's because good teams don't need to fill through free agency because they're filling through paying players that are already on the roster. They draft well and facilitate that way. And they do less pieces than that. But it's mostly this shows drafting is important. Not free agency is important. So when someone's like, oh, we don't need to sign all these guys because it means we're bad. I go, well, we have holes, so you need to fill them with good players. You're going to probably overpay, but you're taking the wrong thing from this graph. It is not saying spending in free agency is bad. It is if you have to spend a ton of free agency, that's because you are bad. That's the correlation. I just wanted to clarify that when this was going around. Everyone's like, don't freak, because there's people who are like, it's this classic Seahawks. It's like, everyone, we're not making moves. Fire John Snyder. And it's the other way. It's like, guys, like historically, people who spend a lot of money in free agency don't do well. I'm like, well, it's not because they're spending in free agency why they don't do well. It's because they're bad. They're a bad football team. So I just want to clarify that. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw it to Kevin after this, but I think the cuts make complete sense. Good riddance, Jamal Adams. It's just, yeah, Diggs, Disley, Ballore, Monet, all quality human beings, and this is just a business, so that's how it works. And
I'll say this too, Matthew. I think you agree. They're all. I would say all the other ones are still probably good players. It's just what the price you're paying for them is probably going to happen.
Yeah. So it's part of the business. So no ill will towards any of these players, except minor ill will towards Jamal Adams. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
his antics the last couple of years going after the reporter's wife. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, that one was those moves were, I don't think were really that surprising. Williams, I think Sean mentioned, is he good or great? I think he's just solid. That's how I would describe him. Like you know what you're
he's
getting.
Better than solid. He is good. Like there is definitely like.
Well, I would consider solid in the good category. Like
okay, then yeah. Semantics. Yeah, then yes, I agree. Yeah. Okay.
No fan. I mean, we'll see how they utilize the tight ends. I hope they utilize him a bit more. He always seemed to have like 3 catches a game for 40 yards and then maybe a touchdown. So if he gets utilized more, we'll see what he can do. I think he, much like Williams, solid tight end. You pretty much know what you're getting. I think he's a bigger dude. He can block, but we'll see how that pans out. They did just sign Farrell Brown, who was playing in New England last year, and the tape for him is tough because he's getting quarterback from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. So
don't slander Zappi.
Huh?
Don't slander Zappi. Oh, it's just an all-time name.
Zap.
Yeah, you got a Zap. Yeah.
So we'll see what he can do with Geno and this offense, but so far I'm fine. Like, I think they are gonna do something. I don't know what it is. I've seen a lot of different things on the internet, and it's the internet, so you take it with a big grain of salt. I saw Louis Riddick tweet out that the Seahawks could get Justin Fields.
No,
thank
Can I ask you two a question about this, and and then we can Matthew continue. So, we're talking about, like you said, Farrell Brown. It's a good point with and Noah Fant and everything. Just I just don't want them to be getting tons of catches, because I would much rather have the 3 wide receivers we have get catches. Now that's not saying like Noah Fant don't get anything, but I don't really need Farrell Brown really just to block. I don't want him getting 40 catches, because that means that I'd rather throw those passes to JSN. You know what I mean? Is that do you guys agree with that, or
I agree with it on a certain level, but if
they're covering the guys, yes, and the guys wide open, but
if the offense
it up for your 3
and they're making
for your
catches, I'm fine with it. But I would agree. You have your 3 top wide receivers. Get those guys the ball,
and
more so than your tight ends. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they're good. Feed your good players. Could get, if you can't manage to get a wide receiver open, but you have 3 good ones, you probably shouldn't be an OC. Just honestly, no, I'm not saying every play, but if you can't find some route tree to get one of these 3 guys open on a good amount of plays, I just feel like.
And Noah Fant was mainly outside the numbers guy, or Geno's rolling out and he's in the flat and wide open off the back.
I think they need to use them more, because Noah Fant had 35 catches last year. It's ridiculous. They need to feed him more. But I don't really want everyone's oh man, we got 3 tight ends, we need to use them all. We got Disley. No. Just there needs to be 1 tight end that's catching some passes. But Farrell Brown's a very good blocker, but I don't want him catching 40 passes, because that means I'm look, he might be moving some changes occasionally, but I want JSN running the slant and getting some really turning this thing up and seeing what he can do. Feed JSN some more passes rather than a backup tight end is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now that Kevin's boy's gone, I'm sorry, Kevin.
No, don't remind me.
Went to LA. Rude.
And he got paid an insane amount of money. But
he's also from LA. He was 10 miles from the facility. So
I can't imagine he's got more money offered than that contract.
Probably not.
So, but
Probably
anyways,
not.
You keep going, Matthew. But I just was everyone's talking about it. And I was I feel like you're all missing the point. We need 4 tight ends. No, most teams don't need 4 tight ends. Throw the ball to your 3 monsters, and be okay with that.
And then of the departures, Sean, to get to it, the one I was most surprised at was Damian Lewis. He got paid pretty well by the Panthers, I believe. So that one I was, you know, I'm never gonna, on the capitalistic side, I'm never gonna tell anybody to not get the bag. We get the bag, but I thought it was a little bit more than he.
Matthew, big
But
Kirko cousin fan here. Get the bag,
yeah, oh yeah, Kirk, one playoff win, get the bag, buddy, in
It's
Atlanta. Have
Kirko,
fun down there.
Matthew.
Oh,
How
sorry,
dare
Kirko.
you? Kirko. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And then I thought DJ Dallas might come back on a cheap deal, but he went to Arizona instead. So well, we got two.
Also a surprising amount of money. Yeah, like got $80 million over 2 years or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Get your bag, DJ.
Okay.
That's about it for me. Kevin, what'd you think?
Yeah, the cuts I pretty much agree with. I'm still upset with freaking sorry, I'm brain farting on the safety. Jamal Adams, like that trade was so bad. Like, you don't trade 2 first-round picks for a safety. You don't trade first-round picks for anything other than a quarterback. Like, even like, I know the Russell Wilson one wasn't great, but you still got Russell Wilson. He was solid for you, but yeah. Diggs was okay. Like, he just wasn't as good as like a lot of Seahawks fans thought. So the only thing I'm kind of worried about is just like right now we don't like have a linebacker really, other than Daryl Taylor, who's kind of more of an edge rusher.
Yeah, like, we officially have no off-ball linebackers. 0.
Yeah. So it's
other than practice squad players last year. Yeah, 0.
Yeah. So that's Radigan, I think, is technically.
Oh yeah, he did get called up off the practice squad, but he is still technically on the roster when you're restricted. Yes, yes.
So, and we don't have that many draft spots, so that's where I'm kind of like,
See, that's why I don't cut Nick Bellore. He's a great linebacker.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
You got, when you have your fullback playing linebacker, it's
yeah,
great.
There's something,
and you don't even use him at fullback. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Let me started.
Like, yeah. One of the many,
again, get your bag, but like, I just can't believe.
One of the many reasons
can't believe it.
why Pete should have been fired a long time ago. But yeah, majority of the cuts were interesting to see. I'm glad DJ Dallas got his thing, but it now makes it more room, hopefully, to where my boy gets a little more touches now.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yeah, Mr. McIntosh.
You gotta be healthy though, Kevin. That's his biggest issue, I think.
I know. But yeah, it was sad to see Kobe Parkinson go. But I mean, he got paid, so we weren't. I didn't want to pay him that. Honestly, I don't even want to pay Noah Fant what he got paid. I think Noah Fant got paid a little bit more than what he should have. But as Sean said, I like what we have now. You essentially have high value position players at each one. So you got 3 monsters, you got 3 good running backs that all could be, and then you have a legit solid starter tight end, and then you have like a mediocre, backup in Brown, and you'll probably draft
totally fine. Yeah, totally fine backup tight end in the NFL. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah,
he's your Luke Wilson essentially. Yeah. He's gonna do some stuff every now and then.
He's there to block. That is it. And he catches like 10 passes, totally fine. But he's there to block, and he's a very good blocker.
You don't totally need 3 pass catching crazy ass, like we're not going Gronk and Aaron Hernandez and then adding another one. Like you just need
that was the thing though, or like Kansas City. I don't even know if we had 3 guys who were pass catchers, but I think Seahawks fans thought they were. But then you wouldn't use them that way. If you're gonna employ 3 pass catching tight ends, you didn't use any of 3 of them. Right. Like they all combined for like 70 targets, let alone like 60 catches. Like, I mean, come on, like.
Yeah,
it was so frustrating. Yeah,
I agree with Sean that Fant needs to be involved more. He does need to be involved more in the pass game, because he's good enough to be a good. He's a guy that can get you like 5 touchdowns and 600 yards in a season. Like, we're not talking Rob Gronkowski numbers here, but like if he's got 600 yards and 5 touchdowns in a season, or 6 touchdowns, that's a great season.
Yeah, because your 3 dudes are going to be carrying the load anyways.
Yeah,
exactly. They're the 3 that should be carrying.
That's right there. Like I'd happily take that. That's what I expect out of him. Plus, you have backs that can catch out of the backfield now too. Like, so that's the offense. You're now not overpaying for options you're not going to use, essentially, hoping that none of them get hurt, of course. But if you have all those guys on the field, that's a really good roster. It's just now question mark of quarterback and O-line. But
Oh, should we pour one out for Drew Lock with the Giants now? Did you?
I saw someone was like, I can't believe the Giants paid $5 million for him. What losers? I'm like, guys, we paid Locke $4 million last year.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Like,
back up.
settle down. Let Drew Lock get his money. Like, just chill. Like,
I have an Eagles fan in the office. Shout out Chuck, and he came up to me. He's like, "See Drew Lock sign with like Giants," and I just went, and just gave the suit and it's fine.
yeah,
Go
it's
to
a
New
backup
York.
quarterback too.
Yeah.
The most important news, though, quarterback was Minshew signs with the Raiders. So, and he got his back. Too.
True.
Yeah, that was nice to see. I was happy for him for that.
Go Cougs.
So,
Like,
I hope he gets it. I hope
he might start. He might start.
They're probably going to draft someone later, and then they're going to probably just like roll with like a competition. And the Rangers are going to be drafting in, I think, because it's probably not going to be a first round quarterback.
Right.
He's got a good shot at starting. They got some weapons there too.
Yeah. But all in all, like the only thing like I'm worried about right now is like we have a lot of holes and not a whole lot of money left now. Like, I mean, we have a little bit, but like you also have to, like Sean said, you have to save some of that for the draft, but you only have what, 7 draft picks essentially because you got 2 in the third. And
let's put it this way, Kevin. Before free agency started, I don't think it's updated. The Seahawks had the least people on their roster. They were 21 spots below full roster. So everyone's like, oh man, we have like the 7th most cap space. I'm like, but you have so little people on your team that when you sign all these guys, your actually effective cap space is like $12 million. So, like you really don't have that much money.
So let's kind of do a little bit of math here. So you have what, 46, I think was the number.
I can look it up really fast. You had 44. I know for sure it's 44 players on your roster right now.
So you draft 7. So that puts you at 51. You have to make a 53.
You probably won't keep them all, but that's fair. Yeah, you're 44.
Right. So you draft 7 people. That brings you to 51. And then you have I have a feeling they're going to sign one more. They're probably going to sign like a nobody and then one more solid player. So you got 2 more that gets you to 50.
You have 40. You have 40. Let's call it $45 million.
Okay. So yeah, you could probably go out and get.
That was before their signing. That does not include That does not include Williams. That does not include Fant. That does not include any of those guys. Yes, it is roster. Sorry, over the cap is not updated.
So you could probably get one more guy.
Yeah, it says their effective cap space is like $33 million.
So let me ask you guys this: Mike MacDonald, defensive head coach, he's cut 2 safeties, likely not bringing Bobby back. Other defensive players have gone elsewhere. Are you trusting that Mike knows what he's doing on defense, or do you think that his defense last year was a product of who he had in Baltimore?
It's always A and B. And so I don't want to hold this year against him because he's not going to have.
He doesn't have those guys.
Yeah, I'll get to a larger sentiment. I think this year's kind of like everyone talked about how like 2 years ago the Seahawks like rebuild. Trading one player is not a rebuild. This is the rebuild. You're cutting like 6 guys. You're letting guys walk. This is where the rebuild starts. So this year might not be the best year because they've got to like get rid of some of this dead money. They got to clear up some of the fat basically and get some of the guys that Mike MacDonald wants in the system that fits his system because he's just left over with a bunch. Like you said, there's no linebackers. They don't have a ton of money. They also don't have a ton of draft picks to take linebackers. So he's got to like, okay, like me and John, let's figure out a 2, maybe 3-year plan to get the defense and the players I want in here. So it's going to be not a day one thing for him, just in the situation. We were not left with a great situation. So I think Mike McDaniel's scheme and everything like that was really good. He got a lot out of Clown. He got a lot out of that D-line specifically. So
you said Mike McDaniel.
I'm going to do that all the time.
You're going to do that every time, I think. For the next 6 years, if he's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because between all the 3 Mike head coaches and McDaniel, McCarthy, McDonald, like it's like they need nicknames because it's ridiculous. So, yeah, I think it's going to be. It might be a little bit of a rough year this first year, just figuring out his his players. Yeah,
you're essentially going to have nobody at linebacker. They might go get a dude, but like it sounds like Patrick McQueen signing with the Steelers.
Here he did, and it's fine, and that's fine. Like if he doesn't, don't break the bank, don't do all this other stuff. Like I said, they've got to reset this financially thing too. So don't Don't lock somebody in that you're not for sure sold on, because it's gonna be a year until you really
This
compete
is
with.
I'm just
you're
curious to see what he
probably
builds this year, like with what he has to work with. Like I'm just very
you're
curious
probably
to see.
going to have some undrafted dudes at linebacker.
Yeah.
I would
I
imagine
mean,
so, yeah.
you might. Well, we could get to the next point, Matthew. The draft. I assume they're trading that first pick down because they need more picks.
Yeah, they
They
do.
need they need
They
a
need a
couple
second
second
round pick.
rounders.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe a late first and a second, like trade it for like the 30th and the
I wouldn't be surprised if they get a second and like a fifth.
Yeah, they
and then push
just need
back.
more cracks at the thing
Yeah.
to fill out some roster spots. Like Kevin said, like
So you
they
think that
just
one
don't
is going to
back
be
down.
a couple twos or a 2 and a 3? Is that what you're saying?
I think
It's
you
so
get.
hard to
I think
tell.
you get.
It's so hard to tell because I mean, like, what if the quarterbacks fall and someone really loves JJ McCarthy and for some reason he's still there at 16 and someone's like, oh, we'll give you. I don't
Don't
know.
say that, then they'll do it.
No. A team will
No,
trade up
a
for the
team will
spot
trade with
Oh,
us
to
to
get
go
all right.
get
like.
him.
So
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard to tell with how the draft will fall out and then like who's gonna really be desperate. So
Yeah.
I'm maybe like a second and then like Kevin said like a third and a fourth or
I
maybe
think he gets a
third.
second and a fourth for it.
That's fine. I would
And then
do
you
that for
push
sure. It
back.
depends on what second and fourth, but yeah, I do that. We
I
just
mean,
need more.
but you also
Wow.
still get a first round. You push back, you still get a first round pick, but then you get a second and an extra fourth. I would happily take
I don't know if you're gonna get all of that. I mean, it depends on how high the person's gonna come up.
I thought you were
Because
saying they were going to draft JJ McCarthy, and I was saying then
Yeah.
fire him right now.
people
Like, let's get
people
over
are
it.
getting dumb on trades. nowadays.
I
So
am
I would
not
be
against
not be
drafting
surprised.
anybody, but like I'm not drafting him in the first round. Like if he
Okay, yeah,
falls
that's fair.
like
That's fair.
later,
That's
sure,
fair.
who cares? Like,
But-
but
Yeah.
like in the first round, my first pick, I'm not taking him. Like he's not worth that. But like if he's like if you're that you have your third round pick and he's still for some reason there, like why wouldn't you take a guy like that?
So we got a little bit of time. Let's say they keep the first round pick. Who do you want them to take? I personally would like to shore up the O line a little bit more. Take a guard, I think.
Are you taking? You're taking a. I take a tackle and move Abe Lucas to guard.
Okay.
I don't know if Abe Lucas his health let him be less on his toes a little bit, because drafting a first round guard, it's just not a premium position, and you can still get great tackles at 16. So I'd take a tackle. I mean, again, it depends on how the draft falls out, but like take a tackle, or depending on what edge is there, like you still need more edge depth. I like Monet, I like Uosu. Other than that, though, I'm not confident really with anybody else.
In the
Maybe Daryl
16
Taylor, but like
range on ESPN's big board is Latu, UCLA linebacker, Terrion Arnold, Alabama cornerback,
I'm
and
not
JC
drafting an
Latham
off-ball
tackle.
linebacker. I'm not drafting an off-ball linebacker. I want in the first round you take a linebacker who rushes the passer. That's who you draft. So, yeah.
Unless
I'm looking
unless
at
they're like
tackler.
predicted to be the next Luke Kuechly, I don't want one. Yeah.
Even then, it's so hard to find that. You're taking a huge
Yeah.
gamble with that. You wait for later rounds to take off-ball linebackers. And that's what we have. We trade down and you can fill out your whole linebacker core with all the later guys you get. But like, yeah, I would love to take a tackle, and I like a Lucas, but I just think health-wise, protect him, make him a guard, and then Cross is a beast, and then find your right tackle in the future.
Kevin, are you in agreement? Are you?
It really, like, so if we stay at 16, yeah, you get the best offensive lineman you can get, or the best defensive lineman you can get.
Yeah. Basically
if
one of
you
those two.
now if you push back to like 29 or lower still in the first round, then yes, I think you could take a shot on a linebacker. Or like a crazy tight, even though I don't think we need a tight
if you go
end.
down to 29, Kevin, what about like? I mean, obviously we probably don't like
safety,
these.
too.
We don't like these quarterbacks, but like for example, like Gino's got 1 year left. Probably he's probably done after this.
Right.
Are you okay with them? They trade down, they get an extra second and like
I'd
the
be
fourth,
okay.
and then you like Bo Nix. I don't know, like Penix or somebody. You just pick
I
a
would be
quarterback
okay
who's
with
not one of the big three.
it.
Or
Now,
Well,
like,
it depends on
yeah.
when the second round is, because you might be able to come back around to get him
but
there.
like,
So I don't know
what I mean?
That's
Like,
tough. Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
I don't
and
know.
everybody else are thinking the same thing though too, Matthew. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
how
they're like, oh,
far?
well, yeah.
I think they can get a second and a fourth while moving down, because like I said, teams are being dumb nowadays.
It is important though, Matthew, that first round, because don't wait, because with the first round you get an extra year of draft control. You get the 5th year.
Right.
In the second round, you only get 4 years.
4 years.
So a quarterback's a big value on the cheap deal, and if you can get one more year of cheap deal, that's why the Ravens traded up for Lamar Jackson after the CBA, because they got an extra year of that. So it is.
I understand that, and that's also why I'm a little hesitant, because you can get out of it quicker. That's just my.
No, you can just get out of by not playing the guy. Like it's a rookie deal. It doesn't. You're not getting out of anything quicker. It's a rookie deal. Who cares?
But yeah, if I think you can go get a quarterback, then second round you go get your linebacker,
Yeah.
you get the best guy on the board, essentially.
Yeah.
Best either linebacker, best defensive lineman,
Basically,
or
in the second round, I agree with Kevin. In the second round, just don't take a running back or wide receiver because you don't need them.
yeah, enough
Yeah,
of
anybody else,
fucking
just go.
like
All right.
I mean
We're
the
gonna
fact
do
that
a draft episode close to the draft, so
Okay,
we'll talk more
okay.
about this, but we will be right back on Washington East to West Sports. Welcome back to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 111. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, talk about the Seahawks and talk about their new head coach, their new coaching staff, the cuts, the signings, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty Matt. Sean is Nasty Billy 22. Kevin is C to Believe, SCA to Believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button. Smash it real hard. Let's get into the second half of our show, which is going to be about the Seattle Mariners. So since we were last in the podcast, the last thing that really happened that was major was Robbie Ray was traded for Mitch Haniger, and some things have happened since then. I'll go down the ones that I thought were the big highlights, and then you guys can fill in the rest if I miss them. So the Mariners traded for Minnesota second baseman Jorge Polanco. Mariners acquired Samad Taylor from the Royals. Mariners acquired Gregory Santos from the White Sox. And most recently, the Mariners signed Ryan. Is that Ryan or Ryan?
Yeah, no, Ryan
Stanek to a 1-year deal, a former Houston Astros relief pitcher. So, Sean, what does this mean? You happy?
Polanco is good at baseball, just straight up. So happy with Jorge Polanco, switch hitter. Just like is nicked up. That's kind of like all the Mariners. Like we were shopping in this bargain bin, like like Mitch Garver, Mitch Haniger, now Polanco, all good players, but all have serious injury questions. All, if healthy, fantastic. If healthy, if all of them play 145 games, this team's going to the playoffs. I'm
Is that a
not. They're
guarantee?
not all gonna. They're
Is that
not.
a
Yeah,
guarantee?
they're on. But they're not. They're all not gonna play 145 games. Is the problem, and now it becomes
you
an
heard it
issue.
here first, everybody.
Yeah. Then it becomes an issue then, and it will become an issue. So like, what will they get out of other stuff? Because Blanco very good. Samad Taylor is probably not going to be on the team and probably a AAA guy. So athletic guy, but never has really put together. Santos from the White Sox is an absolute beast, and I love it. He is hurt, got hurt today, so will not be on the opening day roster.
Oh,
or
God.
but they don't think it's that serious. It's too serious. He got a strained lat. So we'll see.
It's already begun.
Well, yeah, we also have Matt Brash on the injured list as well. But no, he's very very good when he plays. And he is nicked up a little bit occasionally, but it's kind of a common thread for the Mariners. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it's too serious. So he comes back, you're gonna love him. And then same with Ryan Stanek, good pitcher. Had a little bump a little bit last year, but other than that, is a good pitcher, and he was with the Astros, and they know what they're doing with pitchers. So I expect him to be quite effective for the Mariners. And yeah, it's actually really nice if they get fully healthy. This bullpen is kind of like everyone's like, oh, they trade away from a bunch of bullpen. It's kind of shaping up to be sort of a Death Star here. Like I really like Brash, Munoz, Santos, and Ryan Stanek.
You remember what happened to the Death Star, right?
It blew up. They
Yeah.
rebuilt it though.
It still blew up though.
Yeah, they built it.
So is this the rebuilt one or?
Yeah, because all the Mariners
okay.
always get hurt, so they're being rebuilt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and are we
sense.
really saying that like the Astros are the good guys? Like, I
No.
mean,
You
like,
just said, but you made the comparison. I was just making sure we were clear
yeah.
here. That's all.
I mean, let's be honest here. Like the dark side's way cooler. Like Darth Vader's like awesome,
Wow.
right? Like, right?
Wow.
Like good guys, bad guys. Good guys are so lame. Okay, we're gonna get into Harry Potter. Slytherin's like the best house because like they can actually have fun and not nerds. So like it's the best. But oops, I just ruined our group chat thingy. But yeah, like I just like they're gonna be such a force at the back of that pen that like It's gonna be awesome. Unfortunately, that's kind of all the moves they made, but other than Jorge Polanco, but Jorge Polanco also good at baseball. I really screwed up this thing. Okay, I fixed it. Anyways, I'm done.
Kevin, what
Team
did you
Slytherin.
think of the moves?
Yeah, for the most part for what he could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I just like I wish Stanton was not a cheap piece of shoot, but that's for another. I mean,
Yeah.
we've
I
already
think we
talked
all
about
agree on that one. Yeah.
I think we've all beat that into the but on the ground for forever. Yeah, it's gonna depend on like my dad was asking me, he's like, are we gonna have a team this year and stuff like that? I was like, the pitching's there. Like the pitching is completely there. Like you have probably one of the best starting rotations in baseball, if not the best. And then like your bullpen's still really good. It's gonna be bats and health. Like your lineup, the consistency of what you can do offensively, and then if they can stay healthy, because you have a lot of guys that just have injury bug problems. So, um, yeah, for the most part, I think this is a team that can, pull out some wins. They're definitely gonna have to rely on the pitching and kind of have. They're probably gonna have a lot of kind of what they had like 2 years ago. Like they'll have like they got to rely on getting like 30 to 40 wins where they're winning like 3-2 or like 2-1, like super close, with pitching, the pitching keeps them in it and they just got to get like 2 runs to, just to make it out. Um, I mean, of course, you're not going to get that every night. So Mariners fans need to hold some realistic. They're human. Other teams are paid to play baseball. Castillo's going to have a bad night. Kirby's going to have a bad night. The bullpen's going to give it up every now and then because the other team's paid to play baseball, and there's other good teams out there.
I love Kevin's like saying on the podcast. That's basically like one of them. The other team's paid to play sports too.
Yeah, like Seattle fans especially like really forget this, especially with other. It's like they're there to win. They're not just there to. It's not like the Harlem Globetrotters and the
Hey, the Washington the Generals.
yeah, the Washington Generals.
You watch your mouth about them, okay?
Yeah, people for some reason just people forget that. I'm like they're trying to get to the playoffs too, so they're going to do their darndest to beat you. Like that's the point of the game. Like so I have yet to look at this whole schedule, and that'll come into play as well. But like Houston's still good. I mean, the A's and the Angels are.
The Rangers don't have anybody who's healthy right now, so we just
And
got to
yeah,
bury him early.
yeah, the Rangers. It's also going to depend on health for the Rangers. But I mean,
Josh Young and Corey Seager are hurt now, so
yeah, like, do we know how long timetable?
I haven't heard any specifics. But we also know
Is
that
it a long time?
DeGrom and Scherzer are also not going to start the season, obviously. So,
Oh yeah, because they're old as crap. But
they're also recovering from major surgery. So yeah, they are running out of players. So,
I mean, those Houston Astros are also still very good. So,
yeah.
and then the American League is very good. So, well, at least the East is. Middle is kind of.
The Central
But
and both conferences are a joke, but it's fine.
yeah, I mean, one team will. I mean, the Twins. I think the Twins are okay, but like
We talk about the Mariners needing to be healthy. Literally every Twins player, if they are every Twins player is a Mitch Haniger. Every single one, like all nine. I feel like they're good, but are they going to get hurt? Probably. Like
Yeah.
that's it for the entire Minnesota Twins.
Yeah. And then Cleveland's just you never know what you have with Cleveland. Like some years they're there and they're scary, and then some years you're kind of like.
I think Kevin, to like your point though, like but right now, as it stands, Ty France is the 7th hitter on this Mariners team, which makes me feel a lot better than in the past.
Yeah,
Like
but
a
then
refreshed Ty
have,
France. But again, you're talking like Mitch Haniger's your 6th hitter, Cal Raleigh's your 5 hitter. Like you've filled out this lineup a little bit better, but like I said, like it's filled out with guys who have a history of being hurt.
I just wish we had like, and I know this is kind of me being over. I wish we had like like what like the Astros have. You have Jordan, like your solid 3 dude who is going to hit 45, 40 to 45 bombs, and then you got Kyle Tucker right behind him, also dangerous as hell.
Yeah, but like
no.
there's like 4 teams in baseball who have that. I'm sure every team would love it, but it's easier said than done. And the Dodgers sign them, so like it doesn't really matter.
Or the
They
Yankees.
just take them. Not even really the Yankees anymore.
Or
It's
the
just
Mets.
the Dodgers are the evil empire, and I guess
Braves. Yeah, I was about to say the Braves.
The Braves just trade every good player from the Athletics and then sign them to a ridiculously team-friendly deal. That's what they do.
Like I personally would have been more comfortable with Chapman in this lineup. But unfortunately,
sure. I tried to avoid every week bringing up the I wish you would have spent more money conversation though. But like what we have is definitely better than what we had last year.
I think it's as long as this, like as we mentioned, as long as this team stays healthy and the bats stay consistent, I think we shouldn't have a trouble making at least 3rd seed a wild card.
I think
hold on. Let me get my take, and we'll get into that. All right. So first of all, the only person I know is Jorge Polanco. So like the move. The others, I'm gonna let you guys explain that because these names.
Matthew, you play fantasy baseball.
Gregory Santos
was a closer in the fan. You need to know who that was
Gregory
last year.
Santos is familiar.
Okay.
I'm familiar with his body of work, but Samad Taylor and Ryan Stanek, I don't know who those people are.
It's totally fine that you don't know those players.
But now I have to ask the question: is this team better than last year's team in your opinion?
Yes.
Now, how much better? I'm not gonna say like a win total or anything, but like
2 games better. Like it's marginally better. Like because I feel I am more confident at the back end of this rotation than I did last year. Like Miller's better than Marco. I think we all agree there. Like
God, yeah.
Yeah, so the back end of this rotation is much better than the back end last year. The bullpens are so finicky, but like I said, Brash, Munoz are there, and Santos is better, and we still have Saucedo. Ryan Stanek's really good. Like I feel like this bullpen is pretty good, and Jerry's gonna find 1 or 2 dudes who no one knows, and they're just like, oh, we're good at pitching too. But it happens every year. And then, like I said, we are not starting day 1 with Tommy La Stella at DH. Mitch Garver has a 130 WRC plus every year. That dude is gonna hit baseballs. The question is how many games he's gonna play. So on paper, we are clearly better. And
Kevin, do you agree with that?
Which part?
On paper, they are better.
Oh, yes, slightly. Yeah.
Yeah, marginally.
Okay, and then give me the opening day lineup if you know it off the top of your head. Like, what is this team? Is Julio? JP. Go ahead. I don't know. JP.
Third base, it's gonna switch depending on platoon side, but if there's a righty, which we're gonna assume everything's righty from here on out, okay? Because that's just what we're gonna do. Josh Rojas is gonna be your third baseman. That's left. JP Crawford, Jorge Polanco, Ty France. Cal's your catcher. Your outfielder is Dominic Canzone, Julio, and Mitch Haniger. Your DH is Mitch Garber.
What's the batting order?
JP's 1, Julio's 2. Right now, people have been saying Jorge Polanco 3, Mitch Garber 4, Cal 5, and then Mitch Haniger 6. Then you get to the bottom, and it's kind of like I like Mitch or Ty France. Yeah. I like Ty France. I think he should be 7. Then it goes Canzone or Josh Rojas, whatever order you think. Some people are like, oh, just put one in the middle and split up the lefties. I don't know, whatever. Like the bottom 3 is kind of whatever you want
to do. Okay. And then it's
that's really good. Ty France is a good hitter when healthy, and he's your 7th hitter.
And is it Castillo, Kirby,
Gilbert, Wu? Rotation
Miller?
Doesn't matter a ton because you have some young guys still, and they're going to miss starts. And other than like the first 3 days, it doesn't really matter, and for fantasy purposes. But rotations get mixed up, and with injuries and all that stuff, 2 weeks in the season, anyways. But yeah, I guess technically it's probably going to be your 5 in that order.
Does a prospect crack this lineup at some point, like an Emerson Hancock or anything like that?
Hancock will probably be on the roster at some point. The only hitting prospect is maybe Cole Young, and that'll be probably the end of the year, I feel like. Yeah.
And he plays
infield.
He plays
shortstop. Yeah. He plays shortstop, but probably not going to be called up to play for JP Crawford. What they rumor is they say maybe he'll come in and play second, and Jorge Polanco also play third, and they'll just move Jorge to third. is maybe what they're gonna do.
So, based on the fact that Stanton doesn't spend money, are you happy with how Jerry has made this lineup after last year?
I'm thrilled with what Jerry had to work with. Like he made this team again better for the third year in a row with no money. Like, if only he was allowed to get, like Kevin said, this team would. Ty France could be your 8-hitter if you just had some money and they signed Matt Chapman. All it took was he was right there. All you had to do,
Like
18 a year, Matt Chapman.
I'm comfortable. Like, okay, if Matt Chapman was in this lineup, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
it's a deep roster.
yeah, I'm with Chapman in this lineup. I'm like, we can compete with the Astros for a title. I think without him, I think
we probably need to get a little lucky.
We still can, but yes, we have to get a little lucky.
And outside of the guys who were here previously, and I'm gonna exclude Polanco on this. Whose jersey do you want to buy?
Can I say Mitch Haniger? I mean, he's here
Yeah,
already.
I guess no, you can't say Haniger. Actually, no, we exclude him. You already got a Haniger jersey, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of guys that were brought in though. Like you're making me buy like a relief pitcher jersey. Like
maybe.
I mean, I guess
Polanco.
You excluded Polanco, so I guess Mitch Garver. I guess so. Like
Mitch Garver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm not buying anybody's jersey. Like,
yeah,
I still need to get a Julio jersey. So that's what I'm getting. I'm gonna get a Julio. I mean, or like Cal Raleigh, but like,
yeah. The new people coming in, my easy answer is Mitch Haniger. I'm getting Mitch Haniger. But if you exclude him, then Mitch Garver. One of the two Mitches is who's getting a jersey from me, if I'm getting a jersey.
All right. Well, it sounds like the Mariners are looking at a positive season. Go ahead and let us know what you think. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at NastyBilly22. Kevin's at SEA2Believe on Twitter. That's C2Believe. Go ahead and subscribe to us, like our videos, tell us what you think in the comments below. Well, next week we're gonna have our or next time, hopefully next week, we'll have our baseball preview episode. We'll hopefully have JT the Ginger back again. But all the signs for the Mariners, at least from my two co-hosts who know more about baseball than I do, are looking up. So, anything you guys want to add about the Mariners here, Kevin? Anything you really want to talk about?
Oh man, not really. Other than Stanton needs to sell the team.
I mean,
actually, hold on.
Yeah.
Actually, that brings up a good point. So I think after the last season, there was a lot of anger with Mariners fans and saying, and I believe Sean said this on the pod, you're not going to buy a ticket to see a game. Does that still hold?
Okay. Well, I don't want to bum everybody out before the podcast ends. We will buy a ticket for Bark in the Park because we don't know how many more Barks in the Park our dog will be around for. So, but we've been saying it for years. So we will buy a Bark in the Park ticket. But
when
that
is
I'm
Bark
determined
Park,
that
do you know?
they have like 4 days. I don't know which, like 3 or 4. I don't know which one. We'll probably decide. But other than that one, which is like we're a time sensitive thing, no, I will not be buying a ticket.
Kevin?
It's tough. Possibly. Since I didn't get to go last year, I really wanted to go this year. So we'll see how it kind of trickles down to. There's other things I really want to do, and then like so maybe like on a weekend thing if the wife wants to go up and get out, we'll do it. But
see, it's a lot more difficult for me because I live close. I'm an hour away. I can easily drive up there on a Sunday and catch a matinee if I really wanted to.
Yeah, I probably try to catch some Aqua Sox games when they come down here. And look at some prospects. That's something we definitely need to get back.
We're gonna go see some Lazarus Montes. Oh man, yeah.
I would love to see that.
Big boys, big toys. Talk about that.
Well, you guys watch the minors. Is there anybody to keep an eye on in the minors this year? Who are you paying attention to?
Everybody. The Mariners are.
There's a lot.
I don't want to call you out, man, but I remember you saying last year, like, "Oh man, you shared a prospect when you was like, Mariners are bad." I go, they call everybody up. They are the 6th best, 7th best prospects team in baseball, and they had the MLB show of like put all your best players, young players on a team in spring training and put them on there, and they were ranked the 3rd best team. Where do I start? Cole Young, Colt Emerson, Axel Sanchez, Ty Pete, Michael Arroyo, Celestine. Kevin, can you pronounce the Dominican player's name?
Felicine Sermin, I think is what it was. Or Celestin.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I would butcher it.
No, sorry, it's Fermin Celestin.
Class A, Lorenzo Montez. Like, I'm just gonna keep. The problem though only is if they're all batters, like all like 10 of them that I'm really hyped for are batters. So hopefully they nail it. They just kind of they know that they have a ton of pitching prospects coming up. And they needed to reload with batters, and I'm cool with it. But they needed to they need this year to go on pitchers. I also forgot like Harry Ford, like their highest ranked prospect. But yeah, like everybody, they have like 10 dudes, and I'm genuinely psyched about playing baseball for the Mariners here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And who won our fantasy league last year?
I did.
All right. Well, we can't let that happen again. So Kevin, let's.
It was you joined fantasy baseball, Matthew. Let me tell you this: I've been playing fantasy baseball since 2006 and never won. You joined, and I win all of my leagues. So I think it's you. You did it.
So did you win any money?
No.
All right. Well, then
No, I gotta give him the trophy that's still behind me right now.
All right. Well, I want the trophy. Then. I want a week with the trophy.
I gotta find a place to get that thing engraved because the one.
Yeah, because the one it closed down. Yeah,
yeah.
The one that I usually go to closed down. I don't know anywhere in the Tri-Cities that does it. But
like it's 3 years behind on it. Like I still haven't put mine on for my last win 2 years ago, and then George's as well. So it's 3 years behind on it. But yes, I can get that to you next time I see you.
I will say. We're talking about jersey.
Still,
I would love Andres Munoz jersey.
Ooh, yeah.
Love some good hard throwing relief pitcher, some closer action. So all about it.
Yeah. I mean, I want a Colorado jersey that says "dumps like a truck" on the back.
Well, when I was at the Winter Classic, they did have big dumper shirts, so you could get a.
I have a big dumper shirt.
Oh, okay, all right, good,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a good big dumper?
That's true. That's true. But also, we do need to pour one out for former Mariner Mike Zunino, who officially retired. Mike, congratulations on your career. You paved the way for the dumper, so well done.
He did pave the way for the dumper. Yep. He squatted so the dumper could really dump. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right. Well, the Mariners open the season. What? Come on, schedule. Come on up. What is it? March 20.
I don't know. Don't quote me.
Why does it bring up spring training? I don't care about spring
training. Looking up the opening day of baseball is like the most impossible thing. I've tried to do it like several times.
Mariners open up March 28th at home with a 4-game homestand against Boston. Then they host 3 against Cleveland. Then they are at Milwaukee for 3. And they're at Toronto for 3. So
it's quite a random start to the season. like Boston, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like Cleveland. What?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. Like, yeah. Those are 3 random
nobody in division.
Yeah, and just Milwaukee is like your second opponent. Right? Come on.
And what Mariner that departed either during the season last year or in the offseason is going to have the most success on their new team? And why is it Jared Kelenic?
I mean, it could be Jared Kelenic, but he's just going to platoon. He's not even an everyday starter for the Braves.
I actually probably think it'll probably be Robbie Ray.
I think it's going to be Kelenic just because he's going to play. Robbie Ray's going to miss at least half the season.
Yeah. But
what about Eugenio?
Yeah, I don't want to. You don't want to hear what I think about Eugenio.
Yeah, I do actually. We got plenty of time. Let's hear it.
I don't know. I wouldn't say cooked is the right word, but like, he's gonna be an average baseball player. That's who he is. 100 WRC plus. That's who he is. I would probably take him on the Mariners roster if we didn't have to trade him, but I would take an average hitting third baseman right now. But yeah, he strikes out a ton. He's just going to have like 100 WRC plus. That's it. Nothing special. Last year was who he is. And he's 33. Like he's on the wrong side of 30.
Is that old for baseball players? Like
it's old for any sport. Pick a sport. Yeah, 30 is like the magical number. Yeah, if you're 30, it's rough. I mean, there are obviously, as I was saying to Grandpa, our dad the other day, Matthew, there are people who age better than others, and it's kind of random. But yeah, 30 is you start looking the wrong way. I I think just killing just because of playing time. And the Braves they have witchcraft over there. It's just whatever they're gonna do. The Braves will find a way. And I hope he does well. And if he doesn't, then I'm sorry if it's not gonna work in Atlanta. Then it's probably not gonna work, Jared.
Well, I think the way he kind of left the Mariners was
Yeah,
a bit of a
getting him
fizzle out.
getting out is probably the best case for everybody. Honestly, it might not even be like it just wasn't gonna work in Seattle after what not even Stan, the guy before Stan was like, we purposely kept him down. Just fresh start, Jared. Like, stop talking about the Mariners, please. But like, let it go. I get it, but like, just do your thing in Atlanta. Like, ignore them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're playing for a team that has a good shot at winning World Series. Just focus on that. Like, stop thinking about the Mariners.
Well, it seems like the Mariners players that always end up leaving one way or the other always generally seem to have some success when they leave.
I think it's selective memory, but that's true. I mean, like that's. I think we remember the ones that do well versus the ones that don't. The famous example is Ken Griffey Jr., who did not do well. Historically, did not do well.
True.
Like,
True.
so I mean, like, there's tons of it. Like, yeah.
But he was in the movie Little Big League, and he was the star baseball player. So we will always have
See,
that.
that's why you need to be the bad guys. The bad guys are so cool. Were we so cool in that movie? We were like the cool. Ken Griffey Jr. was the shit in that movie.
That's true.
He's
That's
like,
true.
I'm gonna steal second. I'm gonna steal third. I'm gonna steal home. That's like the coolest fucking thing. Sorry, I swear. Like, I was like, all right. I was already a Mariners fan, but like Griffey all the way. How could you watch a movie and not be a fan of the Mariners at the end of that movie? Like, why did the bad guys? And they did win. And it's the best part. The best part.
That's true. That's
Bad
true.
guys.
They
Wow.
did. They did. That's why the movie's great. That's why the movie's
Yeah.
great. All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Seattle Mariners and how they're going to look this season. Go ahead, tweet us. I'm at Bearscore Matt. Sean is at NastyBilly22. Kevin is at C2Believe. That is SEA2Believe. Next episode will be our MLB preview. So we'll be letting you know how many games the Mariners will win, if they'll make the playoffs, when they win the World Series. Like, we'll pick a date and then we'll just set it on the calendar. And then we'll talk about some of the other teams and our World Series predictions as well. And then after that, we'll have some NFL draft coverage in the next episode. We have a little bit of time, so Vegas just beat the Kraken in overtime 5-4. So that is
They came
pretty
back
upsetting.
they were 2 goals down with 8 minutes left, and they forced OT and won. That might be the dagger for the Kraken season, honestly.
It
They
might
got
be,
a-
yeah. They got a
they
point,
got a
but
point.
it's tough.
But the problem is, Matthew, the last wildcard team is
It's
Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just lost a point to Vegas. So
Yeah, not great. Not
it's
great.
just not good. Not good
Not
enough.
great. And Sounders are looking not bad to start the season.
The drawing to Austin was rough. They really should have beat that team. They dominated that game. That was hard to watch. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like it could have been worse, but man, they really should have beat up on Austin. Kind of was bummed about that one.
And the Storm
Seawolves,
had a couple big
Seawolves are
signings.
2-0. Seawolves are 2-0. Look real good.
And
So,
I will be attending my first Seawolves game in May.
There you go.
There you go.
Seawolves look real good.
My friend is an athletic trainer for the Charlotte rugby team, so we'll be heading up for when they
There you go.
to Seattle. So
watch more rugby. It's fun. For everybody else out there. Yeah, that's it. Damn it, couldn't be Vegas after they did my boy Hurdle dirty, trading for him. Damn it, Kraken. That's why we can't have nice things.
all right, well, we're just vamping at this point, so I think
Yeah,
that's a good way to
let's
close it.
End it.
And we will see you next time on Washington, East to West Sports. Bring back our Sonics.